My name is Greg. I'm with the Hermon ambulance. We're inside the station now, and wanted to let you guys know that Hermon ambulance does provide a valuable community service, and the community service that we provide is emergency medicine. Now that can mean anything from going to a car accident to going to somebody's house because they've been sick or they've been hurt or injured at the house. We also work very closely with the fire department in car accidents. We all work with them when we go to structure fires, that we're there just as a standby option for them. If any of the firefighters get hurt, or if anybody that was in the house when it was on fire was injured, we would tend to those injuries as well. We also do other community services. We go to Touch a Truck, which is something that you can come and see the trucks in person, and you get to climb through them, you get to play with the lights, you get to play with the sirens. And we also go to Speedway 95. If any of you have been there, you'll see that the Hermon ambulance service is on scene for all the races to provide safety and rescue for any of the drivers that may have gotten injured.
When an EMT shows up on scene, what would they have on? Would they have on a jacket like you? How do I know you're part of Hermon ambulance?
We always wear something that's going to have Hermon ambulance on it, whether it's a t-shirt, whether it's a work shirt, whether it's a jacket like I have on. Most of the time we wear these jackets in the winter time because it's a warmer jacket, and also it's more likely that we're going to be out on traffic accidents, so it's highly visible, it's very bright, so that people can see us, that there's something going on there.
Is it okay for me to come up and ask you questions after you've taken care of my mom or dad?
Of course, anytime. Anytime you want to ask questions, you can ask questions. We'll show you the truck if we have time, if we're on scene or at your house, and we have time. We'll certainly, be happy to show you how the truck works and everything that we're doing. If you're unfortunately the one that's being taken care of, we will tell you everything that we're doing before we do it.
So it's okay for me to ask questions even if I'm the patient?
Of course. Of course. Anytime you want to ask a question of us, even if it's just out in town, you happen to see me with my jacket on, and you've got something that you want to ask of me, I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. We also, in that same light, if we are at your house, just because we're there does not mean that you're going to the hospital, okay? There's a lot of times that we go to somebody's house and we ask them questions and we check them out, make sure that they're okay. And sometimes it's just mom and dad might just want you to make sure that you're okay. And that's a very nice thing for us to be able to go into too, to be able to check you out, see if you're okay. And if we don't think that transport's necessary, that you have to go to the hospital, we're not going to take you to the hospital. And even if we think that you have to go to the hospital, or that you should go to the hospital, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to go in one of these things. You might go in mom and dad's car to the hospital or to the doctors.
All right, let's get to the fun part.
Yeah, let's go and look inside this thing. So these are all the safety lights that we have. This is so that we can be seen by other vehicles and by people so that they know that we're trying to go get to an emergency situation relatively quickly. And if this is behind mom or dad, they have to pull over.
As you can see, boys and girls, the lights on the back came on, and that's because we have both the doors open, and those are loading lights. And so we're gonna see exactly what it looks like inside the back of the ambulance. Okay.
All right, so the first thing I want to show you guys is the stretcher. This is where the patient sits. This is where, if you're going to the hospital, you'd be sitting on this. Now this has seat belts on it, just like your car does. And the reason for that is because it's a state law that you'd be seat belted when you're in the vehicle. Now, the EMTs that work back here are allowed to not be seat belted, okay, because they have to be able to get up to move around to get different equipment to be able to work on the patient.
What prevents the stretcher from moving?
Oh, there's a lock right here, okay? If you push that lever in, it will release and it will come out. I can't take it all the way out because of the building, but if you press on that, now the stretcher would come out and you'll be able to release it and drop down the wheels. And when you go back in, it slides back into the grooves back there, and then it will lock in, and now it won't move.
So even with the seatbelt, I'm safe because the stretcher is locked in with the
That's correct.
floor of the ambulance
That's
as
right.
well.
It's locked right into the ambulance itself. All right, so we carry a lot of things on this thing, on the ambulance. There's a lot of stuff on it. This something as simple as a Band-Aid. We have Band-Aids up here, and it can go all the way up to massive dressings for somebody that's been maybe been cut really bad, or they were or they've had something else happen to them that's causing them to bleed. We can stop that bleeding. We usually have plenty of blankets and pillows in here to keep you warm if it's cold outside. We have ice packs in case you bumped your head. Use those a lot at the racetrack at Speedway 95 for people that bump their arms or bump their heads in car accidents out there. We have this big old machine here, which is really nothing to be scared of. All this is going to do is give your arm a squeeze. Okay, this is a blood pressure machine. So we'll give your arm a squeeze and we'll tell us what your blood pressure is. There's also some other things that this will do as well. It can tell us what your heart is doing. Lets the EMTs know if there's something going on with your heart. Get out of the truck real quick. The bench seat is usually where the EMT sits. We can also have multiple patients. Sometimes if we go to a car accident and we have several patients, we can seatbelt them into the seat here. If they're not injured really badly, but they need to be checked out at the hospital, we can have a couple of different patients here. There's a seat up here. We call this the captain's seat. This is for like if we have a patient that has an airway issue and they can't breathe. Usually you're going to find an EMT sitting up here at the head of the stretcher where the person's head is, to be able to check their mouth and their nose and to make sure that they're breathing correctly. This is called a jump seat. It's also called a CPR seat. So that if we have to do CPR in the truck, that's usually where we're standing or sitting to do compressions. Okay. We have a lot of airway stuff for oxygen administration, to be able to give you oxygen if you need that. We have all that stuff up here. A lot of lighting controls and stuff back here, just to see how bright it can get in here. We have some basic stuff up here, which is just a thermometer, so you can check your temperature. We have something called a glucometer to check your blood sugar if we need to check that. Got just some scissors up here.
Is the bar running across the top of the ceiling for the EMT?
Yes, it is. Yeah, very good. Thank you. This is for the EMTs to hold on to if the roads are bumpy. If we're trying to get somewhere relatively quick with the patient, they're usually holding onto this. That's also what the netting is on the side here. It also holds our stethoscopes and stuff like that, but it's also a good area to grab a hold of or hold on to if you have to. They use this for tape. Like if they're putting an IV in, sometimes you'll see pieces of tape hanging down off from it, so they can tape down the IV as quickly as they get the needle in. They can strap down the needle. They can strap down the IV really quickly. But yes, that is basically what that is just a grab handle for the EMTs to be able to hold and stabilize themselves in the back of the truck so they don't fall onto the patient. The outside has a lot of cabinets too. Sometimes you'll see doors open all over the place if you see the truck's on a scene somewhere. So this particular compartment that we're in right now has several backboards. That's going to be for people that get injured in a car accident, or maybe a snowmobile accident, or a four-wheeler accident, or a boating accident, any of those kinds of anything that might cause injuries to the back or to your head. Most of the time we use a longboard. The metal stretcher that you see in there is called a Stokes stretcher, and it separates and then closes back together, so that we can almost, or a scoop stretcher is the other term that they use for it, where you can actually kind of like scoop somebody up in it. So that's a little bit of a different kind of stretcher. And this little contraption here is called a stair chair. I'll take it out and I can show you kind of what it looks like and how it works. Now this I would take into somebody's house if they were, say, on the second floor of the house, or if the house itself was relatively small and we couldn't get the full-size stretcher inside the house. Pop this open. And it works just like a chair. It's got little wheels on it, like wheels. Okay? And we usually put a patient in it and we would strap them into the chair so they couldn't fall out. Another thing that this thing has is kind of cool. We call it the track master. Okay? And what this does is when you have stairs, if you're going from the second floor of your house down to the first floor, or maybe you're going from your door down the steps to get to the driveway, we would basically lean you back in the stair chair. Okay? And it would go on, these tracks would go on the stairs, and we'd be able to slide you down the stairs easily with that track. And that also provides a little bit of a brake, literally braking, preventing it from sliding down the stairs too fast. Okay? So that's the stair chair. This compartment has differing types of splints. So when someone breaks an arm or breaks a leg, or we think that they've broken a leg or broken an arm, we can use these splints to keep the body part from moving too much and causing pain. So we would use these to prevent someone's bones from moving around if they were broken. These things in the green, these things they're called KED. It's a Kendrick extrication device. We use that in car accidents. Somebody's sitting in their seat, we can actually immobilize their entire back, neck, and head all in one device, and then we can slide them out of the car safely without moving their back or their head or their neck too much, and get them onto a backboard and put them onto a stretcher. So that's that compartment. This is the compartment that we use the most. And this has a lot of really cool stuff in it. It's got, this is a pediatric bag. So if we were going probably to your house, if you had gotten injured or if you were really sick, we would bring this bag in. It's our pediatric, we call it a pediatric jump kit, which means we can jump out of the truck and grab it and we can go. All right, so that's got a lot of stuff in it for kids. This is an oxygen bag, so this has an oxygen tank and all kinds of stuff that we would need to give somebody oxygen. Different types of oxygen delivery devices. And this is our adult jump kit. And this has everything in it that we would need to be able to treat somebody relatively quickly inside of a home. It's got blood pressure equipment in it. It's got to be able to do simple bandaging, blood control or bleeding control, and all of that stuff is right in this one kit. So we can do all of that all at once. The other thing that we have in here, well, we can't reach it, it's accessed by the inside, is a medication box that the paramedics can use to give you medication if you need it. So that's all up in there as well, along with a bunch of extra supplies that we have in there just for general storage. But this is the compartment that we use the most to grab stuff out of in a hurry. Okay. So we got one more compartment to show you real quick. This compartment has a bag that has collars in it. So if you were in an accident and you needed your neck to be immobilized, and immobilized just means that you can't move it, all right? So we don't want you to move it. We would put one of these on you, okay? And it just kind of wraps around like this. And the other stuff that's in here is, you remember the backboards. If you remember the backboards that we saw earlier, these are called head blocks. So they would go up next to your head on the backboard, and again, prevent your head from moving from side to side on that backboard, okay? We have climbing or tow rope or hauling rope if we needed it for whatever reason, for being able to haul something somewhere. We also have straps. Those backboards, we would put straps on you to keep you from falling off from the board while we're trying to move you.